Hello and welcome to What's New in Education. This series of programs looks at new educational products and services that are available throughout Australia. The products featured cover a wide cross-section of curriculum areas and age levels, and they've been chosen for their usefulness and practicality. In today's program, we'll be looking at a series of recently released educational videotapes, as well as talking to the Victorian Minister of Education about a new literacy program. We'll be taking a close look at a video directory of Australian talent and examine a resource booklet on the effect of tourism on developing countries. We'll also be looking at a recently released database of Victorian shipwrecks. And finally, we'll examine a new project book of educational activities from the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park Authority. First up, we look at a kit developed by the Australian Freedom from Hunger campaign. It's called Postcards. The kit consists of 2 booklets and a 30-minute videotape that, in a thought-provoking and humorous way, looks at the tourist industry in developing countries. The kit grew out of a production originally performed by 20 Brisbane high school students, which toured in North Queensland, and the success of the production led to the development of the kit. For further information about the Postcards kit, you should contact the Freedom from Hunger Education Office at GPO Box 9996 in your capital city.
You can't park your eggshell here. Oh, this for me.
No! Yes. No! Oh, please don't eat it!
I won't. I'd rather have you.
Oh, wouldn't you prefer a nice piece of tree?
No. I prefer a nice piece of you.
Oh, no. I can't go back to where I was born. It's all dirty and polluted. Oh. I have to find a new home.
Oh, that's the saddest story we've ever heard.
Well, that was just 2 of the many performers that are featured in a video directory of Victorian performing artists, which was recently released by the Victorian Arts Council. Now, the name of the videotape is called Look and Book, and to tell us something more about this unique venture is Irene Crumans, who's a publicist with the Victorian Arts Council. Publicist you are, Irene. Welcome. Well, tell us a bit more about Look and Book.
Well, that's what it is, really. It's a catalogue. It's a catalogue of artists that people can look at and book them if they want them. And yes, they are Victorian artists, and there are some 45, and the range of performances are from cabaret to comedy and everything in between, up to classics and even rock and roll.
Well, it's a terrific concept that you can actually
Right.
see artists before you book them. Could you tell us who's in the directory?
Yes, well, I could, but if you want me to mention 45 different groups and names, but basically, as I said, there are comedy, there are clowns, there are mime artists, there are magicians, choirs, bush bands. If any school just needs anything for any occasion, it's basically like that, that you have a look and you say, right, we need a magician for this particular occasion. You have a look and see who's on there, and if they look good, you ring them up.
Sounds good. Well, how did you develop this idea and put it into practice?
Well, the Victorian Arts Council used to have a catalogue, a printed catalogue of artists, and I think there were about 200 on that catalogue. And people used it and they found it was terrific. But, you know, when you've got, say, 6 or 8 bush bands, how do you know which one you're going to choose? Because they all sound as if they could be the same, they all look a bit different, but you don't know if their sound, the way they feel is going to be right for you.
And as performing artists, you want to be able to see them perform, and if you don't have the time, especially if you're a teacher in a school, you don't have the time to go out and see them all, this is the most likely alternative.
It's like a tape of video clips. You have 1-minute clips that show a variety of aspects of different performances, of the performance, and so it gives you an all-round feeling of what the actor or the group will do. I mean, jazz band will play 3 or 4 numbers, little bits of it, and you can get a feeling if it'll be great for schools.
Well, how can teachers in the classroom use Look and Book, and which acts do you feel might be particularly suitable for them?
Well, I think there'll be quite a few. With the videotape, there's a little catalogue, and all the acts are mentioned there in categories, and it has their name, their repertoire, the suitability, if they're suitable for schools, and what their school's performance might be, and then a contact number, name and number. So you could just have a look. That sounds good, looks good. You can ring up and book them.
And I'm sure many of them will be known to teachers in schools already, and the others will be a good reference point. So you've kept a certain standard of performance also. Oh,
absolutely. We looked at people who were in the business, professionals, because, well, we didn't want a video of amateur hour.
Fair enough.
Also, can I just say, we produced it professionally. We went to a professional production house, so the quality is terrific. I mean, it isn't just bits and pieces of home video.
No, well, that would also reflect the calibre of the artist as well. Now, are you going to update it regularly?
Yes, we are, if we can go through the agony of doing it. We actually did it in the studio, so we got all the artists together. It took about a week of filming. So we will do it probably once a year, refilm or add new artists. However, the catalogue will be updated 6 monthly, so the written information will always be up to date.
Oh, great. All right. Well, if you're interested in getting a copy of Look and Book, then you can write to Look and Book at the Victorian Arts Council, 4 Prospect Hill Road, Camberwell, 3124, or you can telephone on 03 813 3199. Thanks, Irene. Let's have a look at some more of the performances from the Look and Book tape.
Now I've been everywhere, man. I breathe the mountain air, man. Yeah, travel, I've had my share, man. Yes, I've been everywhere. I've been to Tullamore, Seymour, Lismore, Mama, Barnam, Mama, Richard, Kilmore, Willamar, Birdsville, Emmaville, Wallaville. Sing ho for a brave and a gallant ship and a fair and a favouring breeze and a bully crew and a captain too to carry me o'er the seas. To carry me o'er the sea, me boys, to me true love far away. She's taking a trip on a government ship, 10,000.
Hello, girls and boys. Early days. Where are we? At the zoo.
We're not at the zoo. Why did you think we're at the zoo?
I thought we were at the zoo. I thought I saw some monkeys up the deck and along the sides.
They're not monkeys, they're some of the mums and dads and the teachers, and if you don't behave yourself, we're going to be in big trouble with them. And a 2 and a 3 and a bow and a back and a 2 and a 3, 4 and across now. Now we swing, round you go.
The sugar cane grows in a high, the living snow in a high, the mangoes sweet, but the centipede crows all over your feet.
Australia owes much to the early seafarers, who sailed waters that were often treacherous, and the risks involved were considerable. Many vessels were wrecked within sight of Australia's shores. There are 600 recorded shipwrecks along Victoria's coastline alone. The State Computer Education Centre in Victoria has collected an enormous amount of information about these wrecks and has put them onto a database. To find out more about this database and the accompanying kit and how it can be used in schools, I've invited Kathy Kirby, a computer education officer with the Computer Education Unit in Victoria, to tell us all about it. Kathy, the first thing I've got to ask you is there any gold in the shipwrecks?
Well, yes, there are. There are in fact 4 ships that were carrying gold when they sunk, and it was one of my first questions too. And the interesting thing about it when I looked for the location was the fact that they all disappeared with all hands.
So all the ones carrying gold have gone, but there are still shipwrecks down there?
There are still a lot of other shipwrecks carrying a lot of different types of cargo, yeah.
Well, it's a fascinating unit of work to use in the classroom. Could you tell us what's in the kit?
Well, the kit contains a computer database that operates on a number of different types of computers. It also contains booklets with information about various shipwrecks, maps, a set of slides showing photos of the ships that we have, and also a teacher's curriculum resource kit that directs teachers to other sources, films, museums that they can visit, the children can use in their research they're doing about shipwrecks.
So the books and the slides, are they for use, for the children's use?
They are, yeah.
All right. Well, how would a teacher go about using the kit in a classroom situation?
The kit allows students to actually be historians. It allows them to look at source material. The database contains information on the ship's names and the date they were lost and how they were lost and where they were going, what cargo they were carrying, who their master was, how big the ship was and how it was powered.
So anything that kids would want to know about shipwrecks is contained in the database?
That's right. So what the students can do is they can make theories about why they think were the causes of most shipwrecks, for example. Or they might like to make theories about the types of cargo the ships were carrying and where they were going and what type of ships they were and what are the most dangerous places on Victoria's coastline. Once they've made these theories, they can then go to the database and they can check out their theories. And what this usually leads to is research that then they go to the books and the maps and go to the places of interest and see if they can piece together some of the stories about these shipwrecks, because nobody knows all the answers.
So it's not just a matter of reading information, it's also getting conclusions from the information that you read. Let's have a look at how the database actually works.
Okay. Well, perhaps you might have some theories, Lily, that you would like to test about the shipwrecks on the Victorian coastline.
Right.
How do you think that most ships were wrecked?
Oh, I suppose through rocks on the shore?
Okay, well that's probably one that a lot of people would say. I'll show you how we can check that information. Okay?
So I come up with an idea of what I think to be correct and then I can check it in the database.
That's right, and you might find some surprises too, but let's see what the database has to say about that.
Okay.
If we go to this section here called Organise, choose Record Selection, what we're wanting to know is this category here, which is How Lost. Over here we go to Contains, and we key in the word rocks.
Seems fairly simple so far.
That's right. We now select this, and we find here a list of ships, and there's actually 18 on this list that were shipwrecked by rocks.
So does that mean I was right?
Well, not really, because there's 600 wrecks in the whole database. So in actual fact, what's interesting here is that we find out that not a lot of them were caused by rocks.
Okay, so what happens next?
Well, that might cause students to ask, well, if that's what I thought was the most common cause, what might be some of the other causes? So they might start to theorise about that. If we look at this listing here, and we go along to the type of propulsion, or the way that the ships were propelled, we find that most of them were actually sailing ships and very few steamships. So students, once again, might like to investigate why that was so.
So basically, all the information about shipwrecks is contained in the database. It's easily accessible within the classroom with computers that most schools have got, and it's historical facts as well as drawing conclusions.
That's right, and using the database allows children to develop their thinking skills, to be able to learn how to analyse and manage information, and it's also very exciting because they're doing history, they're finding out for themselves.
It sounds like a terrific kit for classroom use. If you'd like some more information about the kit on shipwrecks, then you can contact the Education Shop, GPO Box 4367 in Melbourne, Victoria 3001. If you've ever wondered just what goes on behind the scenes in a news department of a major television station, then the next video may help answer some of those questions for you. Produced by the Melbourne-based ABC News team in conjunction with the Victorian Ministry of Education, it's a must for teachers of media studies. It's about the news and about the people who put the news together. It's also about the technology that brings news reports from around Australia and the world into our living rooms. And of equal importance, it's about the countless judgments and decisions that are made before the news reaches us.
In particular, you probably have to keep the audio on that, which is in the studio there.
Deadlines are now approaching. From 3 o'clock, we do brief promotions to let people know what to expect at 7 o'clock.
What have we got, Elle? 1 minute?
Just under 1 minute. 30 seconds to go. 5.
Good afternoon, Mary Delahunty with you. And making news today, Labor stitches up a deal to replace departing Deputy Robert Fordham. Desperate attempts to keep a lid on. When reporters return from assignments, their script goes to the sub-editor for approval.
The Victorian Health Promotion Foundation raises...
They then record the commentary and proceed to cut the story with an editor. It will be checked at least twice before it goes to air and precisely timed when it's completed.
Right, it runs a minute 13. And the last words are some form of specific treatment.
That's fine, and there's no gold fishing either, so that's great. Thank you
Good,
both.
thanks.
Thank
Magistrate Kevin Mason adjourned the 14 cases for committal at the Magistrates Court on the 14th of March.
Linda, excuse me.
Yeah.
I've talked to legal, and the short answer is no, we can't. What the kids have been saying in their interviews is virtually incriminating. And until the case is over, we can't be showing them, we can't be talking to them. They did make the very valid point, though, that we should keep the footage that we have today, so that whenever the case is heard, whichever way it goes, we can follow it up and talk to them about their grievances and what they would like to see done.
All right. Well, I'll get them to file all of that.
Yeah, and make sure that you put a note in the diary about their next court appearance.
Okay. In March. Yeah. Thanks a lot.
I'm recording VG7. Roll when ready.
And the stories are flowing into Australia from around the world. Each day we take numerous satellite feeds from London, New York, and Asia. These give us reports from our own correspondents in those key areas, as well as access to the best reports on British and American television.
Kabul wears the look of a city under siege these days.
For further information about this video, you can contact the Education Shop, GPO Box 4367 in Melbourne 3001. We Australians are privileged to live so close to one of the most amazing living things on Earth, the Great Barrier Reef. The reef is the world's largest and most complex system of living coral reefs and covers an area larger than the states of Victoria and Tasmania combined. The area supports a bewildering array of plants and animals and breathtaking scenery both above and below water. To encourage study of the reef and to assist educators organise visits to the reef area, the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park Authority has produced Project Reef Ed. Project Reef Ed has over 150 activities which have been designed with students from years 10 to 12 in mind. If you'd like more information on Project Reef Ed, contact the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park Authority, Post Office Box 1379, Townsville in Queensland. 4810 is the postcode, and the telephone number for inquiries is 077 81 8811. The Victorian Minister for Education, Joan Kirner, recently launched the Victorian Literacy Strategy for Prep to Year 3. Called Reading Together, the aim of the strategy is to ensure that all Victorian children become independent and confident readers by the end of Year 3. I asked the Minister how this aim was to be achieved.
Well, I guess the thing that I think is most exciting about the program is the line we're using, reading together is magic. We know from all our research and from our own experience, indeed my own experience as a mother, that if you read to your children and listen to your children to read, they get a much better chance in terms of being educated, both in reading and all the other subjects. Secondly, we'll be using skilling programs like reading recovery for children who have fallen behind a bit, who need to have their skills upgraded. And we are already doing professional development programs right across the state for teachers. Already we've had 75% of our teachers in those programs. So that's lifting their confidence and competence.
Could you tell me about the different materials that have been developed that will help teachers, families, the different areas that you're targeting for help?
I guess the most important material is this Reading Together pamphlet, which really shows teachers, parents and students how you can go out planning a literacy curriculum, evaluating it and building it into your total curriculum. And then as well as that, there's a pamphlet which is to go home to every parent so that they can see what they can do, poster to excite people about the issue, which is Reading Together is Magic, as well as a video which encourages public and community and teacher-student discussion about why reading is important.
It's magic.
Reading Together is magic. Reading together with young children actually helps them learn to read and write. It always works.
It's magic.
You don't have to be a good reader yourself. You don't need special training. You can read in any language the child understands. Turn off the TV and try it.
It's magic.
Giving children the idea that words are for reading helps them to read. The sooner you start, the better. It is very important for them to learn the basic reading and writing skills before they finish Year 3 at school.
It's magic.
Everyone can help. Schools cannot do it alone. When you spend time reading together with young children, you're giving them something very special. It's magic.
Well, how can people get copies of this material?
Well, they should have no trouble doing that. We're really trying to spread the pamphlets and the handbooks to all the points of contact for parents. So there'll be school councils, infant welcome centres, preschools, libraries, and indeed in some major shopping areas. And as well as that, the video will be available from school support centres, of which there are 3 to 4 in every region.
Thank you for joining us. I look forward to seeing you again next time on TV Ed.